How's it going, guys? Welcome to Jae Explains, Irvington's second annual No Fat Kids 5K / the importance of free speech. Now, before we get started, you already know, like, sub, share, speak. Helps the channel grow, and I appreciate you for it. No, that's obviously not the official title of this event. Last year, it was heavily advertised as the Childhood Obesity Run. This year, it was more generic, family fun something, and terribly advertised. I almost forgot that the whole thing was going on. But see, that's why I'm here, to pick up the slack. Simply because, No Fat Kid 5K is just so much fun to say. In all seriousness, this is my favorite township event, and that's the only reason I didn't shove the footage into an episode of Unbound and keep it pushing. I have a lot on my plate right now, but it's very important to pat the backs of Dr. G, Mayor Voss, and all of those responsible for putting together one of the very few events that doesn't bore me to tears. This township is a barren desert of masculinity, so anything that gets the blood pumping a little bit, and it gets a grade A from me. Quick side note, it's hilarious watching drivers' confusion during the run. Naturally, I ran. I know there are probably 2 minutes of me on camera somewhere on this channel, but I'm in good enough shape to start after everyone else, catch up with notable individuals on bikes, surpass those notable individuals on bikes to get a good shot of them passing me, then catching up again, which eventually caught up with me because I was feeling it in the last leg of the run. Yes, that's very dumb of me, but the challenge excites me. Just look at my nipples. Look at them! So it was really fun. It's too bad insurance and deceitful people have ruined the fun of such outings for everyone. There's a reason they have to make people sign waivers. There are individuals who have full-fledged careers in suing unwitting victims, so it's always more prudent to play it safe than sorry. But when there's a chance to do something awesome, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I finished with a decent time. Not really sure what my exact time was because I didn't bother to look at the clock until after I'd cooled down. I would have stuck around and taken pictures of people getting awards, but when sweat starts to dry, the shower calls my name. Outside of that, there really isn't much else to say. There aren't a lot of ways to be like, oh yeah, it was a fun time, seemingly had it by all. But before I wrap this up, I'm going to segue into the concept of freedom of speech. See, it's hilarious. Every time I call it the No Fat Kid 5K in front of electeds, they laugh for a millisecond before going in on, no, that's not what, Look, they call it being offensive. I consider it being more direct. I've covered the Nazi pug situation here on this channel where the content creator named Count Dankula was sentenced and fined over an obvious joke. Recently in the UK, another citizen over there has been sentenced for reposting rap lyrics. And the reason I've begun paying attention so closely to these events is because if you think there are people who want to take your rights away at any given time and that they haven't started chipping away at it, well, you would be wrong. Since my return to urban living, I've noticed a pattern in conversations where someone says something the other person doesn't like and a string of belligerent and loud, nonsensical rantings ensue, with physical violence definitely on the table. It's the environment fault. If one where reason, logic, and encouraging debate were cultivated, then children would grow up knowing how to handle conflict and their emotions, becoming adults who know how to handle their conflict and emotions, teaching their children. You see what I'm saying, right? I think you get the point. Words aren't violence. Violence is violence. Me and violence happen to have a close-knit relationship, whereas words have never punched me, kicked me, shot at me, cut me, run me over, burnt me, or thrown me out of a window. The difference between words and violence is that violence ends in ouch, at the very least. If I presided over an environment and community that had a 23% poverty rate, a little off-color humor would literally be the least of my concerns. But SJW policy and public posturing is all that matters these days because the manufactured urban culture, all that ratchet shit, has gotten so out of hand that any semblance of decency can cut the mustard. I've said it a million times before, and I'll say it again. This is the result of multiple generations of fatherless homes and sabotage schools in effect. I mean, melding words together that have completely opposite meanings, softening up said communities to believe just because the opinion is one they disagree with, it's automatically invalid and should be shut down. That's just not how freedom of speech works. We need to embrace the arena of ideas. The good ideas rise to the top and the terrible ones fall asunder. One of the biggest problems in our culture is that the terrible ones have been given flotation devices. Look, guys, if you believe in what you're saying, then standing tall in your position should be the easiest thing ever. And if there are holes in your argument or you're flat wrong, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with being misguided if you're willing to learn and adjust. It's the dismissal of new valid information that turns people into anti-intellectuals, which those who actually profit and benefit from the dismay and decay of our community depend on. So that's about it. I went from a 5K run to talking about freedom of speech. I know the segue was pretty rough, but I think I stuck the landing. Thank you so much for putting up with me, guys. You're amazing. Please take a moment to do all the YouTube things. Like, sub, share, speak. I'm going to bookend this with Council Rep Burgess. She's a proud member of Mayor Voss's Dora Milaje. Irvington Unbound 39 is up next, and until then, love.
Thank you for the support, and this is just the start to a healthy, good way of living. You know, I think it's good that we're showing our kids that, you know, it's good to stay active, it's good to stay healthy. You know, it helps every part of the body, and the main thing, as you can see, everybody's together, the mayor is out, council out, you're out. Yeah. So we're just having a good time.